Can you believe it is already the last Friday in the month of July 2023? Pretty crazy, isn't it? So tonight, I thought I'd come on. We're just going to visit a little bit. We're going to talk tonight about the importance of head voice and what you can do to release your head voice. So we talked a little last week about the chest voice. The importance of developing your chest voice is so important for strength. It's important for that platform. It's your foundation for mix. And I'd like to give a shout out to all of you who are on. Anyone who joins me live. Sarah, looks like you are joining me live. Sarah, you are so amazing. I just love you. There is my little girl. She's always so wonderful, and she's always just rooting me on. I just love you, Sarah. Thanks for joining. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything comes up on your brain while we're on tonight, just let me know. But tonight we're going to talk about head voice a little bit. Head voice is the release of your mix. If you don't have your head voice developed really well, then you're not going to have that freedom on those top notes, and you'll always feel like you're pulling when you go up and say, oh, Sarah, she's so cute. She calls me Bird. My nickname, she calls me Bird. Okay, so anyway, the head voice is that release of your mix. And if you have a really well-developed head voice, that is going to constitute for more capability in your upper range. It's going to give you more power. There's going to be a balance there. Anytime that you tend to be heavy on any resonance in your voice, whether it's chest or if it's head, usually somebody's dominant in the two. There's another resonator that people can sometimes be dominant in with or without realizing it, and it's the pharyngeal resonance. And we'll talk about that this next week, but that is basically the more nasally sounding a little bit, relying on kind of a quacky, or if you've ever heard of a singer or they sound kind of like nasal, really nasal when they're singing, that's what we call the pharyngeal resonance. So that's another resonator. But tonight we're talking head, and there are things that you can do to start building your head voice. So the first one, we all know we need to warm your voice, right? That's hands down, warm up your voice. So we're going to dive in, and we're going to do just a few light little head voice warm-ups. And the first one we're going to do is an octave scale on a lip roll. So give me that dopey boo 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 boo. And we're going to go getting into your head voice. Girls, we're transitioning from your head voice. You're in your chest, going up to that first bridge. And Sarah's asking, how long should you do this before singing? A good warm-up, Sarah, is constituted of about 10 to 20 minutes, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. Everybody's voice is a little different, but you don't want to do a full-blown workout before you sing. About 10 to 20 minutes of a nice, good warm-up is sufficient. Gentlemen, we're still here, bringing you out of your head, more into your mix, into your first bridge from head to chest and down into your chest voice. Okay, now we're going to do another head voice exercise, and it's just a very light cuckoo, cuckoo, thinking of cuckoo, cuckoo, like a cuckoo clock, but a light G. You're looking for that light G coordination. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. So it's not going to sound like cuckoo, go. Not like that. We're just a very, very light sound. Try it with me. We're going to say coo, 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 coo. A little dopey. Coo, 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 coo. Find your reset. Coo, 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 coo. Coo, 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 coo. Wherever it's comfortable for you, play around with it. Pretend you're a cuckoo clock. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Gentlemen, you're going to be down there in this area here. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Girls, cuckoo, cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Just comfortably high. Now we're going to take that. We're going to start with the ladies, and we're going to do a 1 octave, very brief 1 octave scale. We're going to go cuckoo, 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 keep it that hooty dopey sound. Girls, don't normalize it as you get here. Just drop out when you can no longer maintain nice balance. Just go cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. Guys, you should be in, and we are just keeping that light cuckoo. It's a very hooty, light cuckoo. So tonight we're visiting head voice, learning how to access the head resonance. And of course, girls, you're not in here anymore, and some of you guys are not in here anymore either. You don't want to go and normalize it. Go, 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 go. That's obviously not head voice. That's a chest voice sound. Okay, now we're going to do one more, and believe it or not, this is something that you may not think about, but I just want you to make a little squeaky little sound. And it looks like we have, let me see, Sarah says, hi, Uncle Jason. So Jason, I can't see if you're on or not, but I'm just gonna say a shout out and say hello if you're out there. You must be, because Sarah's saying hi to you. So unfortunately in my broadcast I can see when people get on, but if I don't see, if they don't identify themselves or make a comment, I don't know exactly who's on while the show is running. Okay, so be sure to identify yourself. If you put yourself in a comment or say something or have a question for me, just put your name, this is so and so, and then your question, your comment, or whatever, if you would like me to respond back with your name. Okay, so now we're going to take that. We're just going to say, ooh, ooh. You hear that little ooh, ooh, ooh. It's a tiny little sound. We're not grinding it. It's not tight. It's just very, very light, very tiny sound. Ooh, ooh. Very tiny sound. We call that, it's an edge exercise, and we call it an edge exercise because you're taking the very edges of the vocal folds, guys, and they're just touching, just the outer edges, connecting very, very nicely, very cleanly. It's a very light sound. We don't grind it. So we're just going to do a few little squeaks, go up. Ooh, ooh. Only go as high as you comfortably can, just a little bit of edge. Now we're going to take that same edge and do a little staccato. I want you to do that with me. This is an edge exercise. Notice how high you can go when you are, okay, Sarah says, and this helps with what now? What this is it's another, it's called an edge exercise, Sarah. And, oh, Jason says, good evening, madame. Oh, that's so awesome. It is what the edge does, Sarah, is it just brings a very, literally, like it says, it brings the edges of the vocal folds together without a lot of weight and volume. An edge exercise does not constitute a heavy muscular coordination, and it does not constitute volume. Okay, so if you trying to grind edge and like that, that's grinding, that's squeezing, that's clutching the voice, and that's bad on your voice. You don't want to do that. Just very light. Just start from there. Like if you were going to tell your kitty cat or your dog or a small child, don't touch that, don't get into that. That's just a tiny, well, we would call that edge. Okay, so we're just going to do that again, and we're going to hop around with it on some random notes and just see how relaxed your voice can be. Don't squeeze and don't force any notes. I just want you to pop around on some different random notes. Go notice the high, that's a high A way up in the in head voice. So Sarah is asking for an example of head voice. So head is just what we just did. So if we go that's head voice. Those notes are very high. Typically they're light. Now they can be heavier. You can add more volume to them, but that starts in a very, very light coordination. That's why we're bringing in, you don't ever want to start and try to discover head voice with volume. So many singers, and especially like in choir settings, or say you're singing, and typically a lot of people in choir, they'll get a hoarse voice if they're, say you're right by the loudest tenor on the planet, or you've got a super loud soprano right up behind you, and you're trying to reach a high note. When you've got a lot of volume around you, you naturally are going to project, and then you wind up overdoing. You're straining your voice when what we call projecting. Okay, so I don't like to think of projecting, just because projecting, when I tell you, if I told you, hey, I need you to project, what are you going to do? Your automatic reaction is going to be to turn up the volume. That's the last thing you want to do. Remember, power starts in a very light place. When you're warming up your voice, you always are starting in a light coordination. And the same thing when you're warming up into your head and you're starting those head exercises. You do not, yes, project equals loud, Sarah. Very good. I love it. So you don't want to start with a really loud coordination. I promise you, you're giving yourself a prescription for a hoarse voice if you just bellow in and force loud notes. So first thing, we already know your voice needs to be warmed, and this is not a balanced warm-up by any means. We're just touching some little functions to get you going in your head voice once you've warmed your voice. Okay, so let's do that again. Take that little ooh, and you can produce that. Think of a puppy whimpering. That's a very high sound, and I'm not straining my voice. That's in head voice. That's in my head resonance. It's right there here again, starting around that A flat, the G, all in that area there, your head voice. Now that's for my head voice. Everybody's head voice is going to be a little bit different. Guys, your head voice is going to be, so your bridge, gentlemen, your head voice is going to be up here. Not all men, okay? But say if you're a tenor, you should be probably able to pretty easily sing getting up here. Guys, for you, this is going to be more your head voice. We call this the male high C because that's the C an octave above middle C. Girls, your head voice C is going to be up here. So all I'm doing is making a tiny little there. I'm not trying to sing there right now, just squeaking up to it. So another way to get to that, if you feel like, okay, so mine is kind of pooping out on me, go. See, and that's another way you can get up into the head voice and the head voice notes. Okay, any questions so far? So we know that head voice is getting up into our higher register. For girls, your head voice, most of us ladies, it's going to be when we get to the A above middle C, then our bridge is going to be for our mezzo and our first sopranos. Our first bridge into head voice is going to be that A flat, B. For altos, if you've got a lower voice, your first bridge is going to be E, F, or F sharp. Those are typically, if you have a lower female voice. Gentlemen, your bridge in going from chest into head, your first bridge. Now, we all have a bunch of bridges. That's a whole nother conversation. But you're going to be hitting, guys, you're going to be finding your first bridge in that A, B flat B, going from your chest voice into head. Or here again, gentlemen, tenors, you might find that E, F sharp. Some find the F sharp, G. There, everybody has, those are, we call it a system of bridges. So about every half octave, a bridge is where your voice starts crossing over from one range or one area of resonance into another. Think of it as a gear. You're switching gears when you're singing. And the most common bridge that everybody gets hung up on generally is their first bridge from chest into their head voice. Okay, so think of your bridge as your gear, and it's that first gear as you're shifting out of your chest voice and you're shifting up into head. And then as you go higher, we have another bridge that goes all the way up, and then you go higher and you have another bridge. And depending on how high you go and your vocal capabilities and your own range, you're going to find yourself where there are spots where your voice transitions higher and higher or lower and lower, that the gear shift changes. All that means is there is a shift of muscle weight when you go higher in your voice. The amount of muscle and the amount of air pressure and compression and the amount of cord closure, all that shifts. There is a shift in the weight and the pressure as you ascend, because as you ascend, the vocal folds thin out and they also zip up. It's crazy. Our voice is so amazing, you guys. Okay, so I'm not trying to bore you with all this. I'm kind of a geek when it comes to voice, because our voice is fascinating. But just think of it like we have gears in our voice, and those gears are generally where, as a girl, you're going to most likely notice right here. You're going to go where it just wants to, or it's gonna feel like I'm flipping, and that's because I was like grunting and groaning and squeezing. But you want to back off your volume. Here's where the light and right is better than strong and wrong comes in. To get into that head voice is to just be very light with it. Do you see where I started into the bridge, went up into head voice, came back down, and got back down into chest voice? There was a consistency in the volume without the voice breaking. Instead of when you start reaching, you start pulling, you start straining, and that's when your voice starts getting beat up, just because you can do it. And you don't even know you're doing it until afterwards. You're talking like this, and you don't want to be talking like that. That's so horrible. Okay, so let's look and see if I have any questions. I know we went on a little bit of a rabbit trail talking about head voice, but guys, it is so important. If you don't have your head voice developed, you are never going to have power and release up at top. Okay, that powerful release, that consistency up in your really high notes, that's it's just going to feel like it's floating the higher you get. If you have that, remember last week we were talking a little bit of chest voice, there's your power. That's the foundation. But that roof, that ceiling, that top part there, it needs to be breathable. It needs to be expandable. And just think of almost like a balloon just kind of floating. It's doing kind of less, or even a parachute, and it's just floating, and it just floats up as you go. And you're not adding a ton of pressure at all. If you should feel like you're floating when you're in your head voice. So let's look and see what we've got here. See how many questions I have. Let me see. We got Sarah loves the lip trails. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sarah says she feels cuckoo doing these. I sound like Coaster. Okay, you guys, my bird. I have an African gray parrot. His name is Cody, or Coaster is his nickname. And he does. He mimics me with the different sounds and stuff that I make. So the house sounds really crazy a lot of times. Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. And shady. Sarah says, I'm being shady. Here's Mr. Jason Hess. He's my brother-in-law. Jason, you rock. Thank you so much for getting on here. That's awesome. I just love it. So, I know maybe not everybody who pops in and out, you might be just out of curiosity on here. Maybe you're not interested in singing, or maybe you kind of like to sing. But if you ever have a question, like it, just seriously, if any of this helps you at all, if you pay attention to any of these little vocal tidbits, they'll start making sense. And there's no way you're going to remember everything because there's just too much to cover in one setting. But it is so important just to take one little piece, one little step at a time, and be consistent and start developing all of these areas in your voice. So we gave you an example of head voice, and then Sarah says, oh, good heavens. I don't know what you're talking about, Sarah, on the oh, good heavens, but, and then she, let me see, Michael McKnight. Michael McKnight, how are you? Welcome. And you said, alrighty then. So if you've got any questions, please let me know, Michael. Okay. I don't know if you're a singer. I'm going to assume you might just be curious as to what the heck's going on here. But if you are a singer or interested in singing, if you've ever done any kind of choir sessions, or if you're a pro touring artist, just anything. So a lot of times people will be into playing a guitar or different instrument. And you know what? Wouldn't it be fun to sing too? To be able to sing, maybe do some, just like when you're strumming along and you just want to sing along with what you're playing. A lot of people don't realize they can sing. They discount themselves. Let me see. Sarah said that Fee is her dog, and she does not like the little okay, so Sarah, do you know Mikey? I'm going to assume maybe that you know who Mikey is. I don't know. So, okay, there you go. Oh my gosh, this is crazy stuff. Okay, so let me see. Okay, she says, I like that. Right, light and right versus strong and wrong. It makes sense. So good. If that helped you to understand, Sarah, the light and right is better than strong and wrong. Think of when you're cruising in a car and you're going down the highway, and on the way, just say you're cruising and you're going to Albuquerque, and the speed limit is 85 max when you get on the interstate. Now I know it's not, but just say for the sake of it, the speed limit's 85. Okay, once you get out on the interstate, you would never get in your car and then just pedal to the metal, floor it immediately. You would never just do that. You gradually work your way up, and the car, as you're speeding up, as you're stepping on the accelerator, those gears start shifting and just kicking in, and it's a gradual process, and it's smooth if your car's working correctly. Okay, so think of that as that's light and right. So you don't just slam your foot down and just push the gas pedal all the way to the floor. You increase the pressure. You just increase it, and it's a consistent light and right pressure as you're driving. Okay, that's kind of an example if you want to think of light and right in lieu of gears and shifting gears. Okay, you don't want to just slam onto the gas, and then that just is really bad on the engine, plus it's bad on the gears. It's not good on the engine for you to just do that. If you did that all the time, you would ruin your engine eventually. Your engine is not meant to just go from 0 to 100 miles an hour. That's not how cars are supposed to work, and our voice is not supposed to work. We need to warm it up, and then we need to go light and right, start light, and then you can get into some amazing crazy notes. Okay, so Sarah says Cody has an excellent singing voice. He does. Cody is my African gray, you guys, and he speaks and sounds just like a human. He sounds honestly, he sounds like a person. He's amazing. If you guys ever want, well, no, because I know he won't. Every time I've tried to record him or put him on camera to get him to sing or to talk to me whenever we're on, whenever I'm trying to record him, he just clams up and doesn't make a sound. So anyway, but just anyone who knows or ever comes over, they know that we have an African gray, and he sounds like a person. He talks and sounds very much like an actual real person. Okay, so Sarah says 85 is a turtle. Okay, Michael, that's funny. Oh, hell no, you get after. Okay, there you go. Okay, so Sarah, you guys are driving. Mike, and I think Michael and Sarah are Speedy Gonzalez. I think you guys are probably have your handful of tickets, maybe. You guys are funny. Let me see. Mike used to get at me for speeding in the driveway at work and said it's not a drag strip. Okay, so I rest my case. Okay, so we talked today briefly about head voice. And head voice, you guys, it's the release of your mix. It is so important. If you want to be able to get up there and have the freedom, start with a light place. Don't press into it. Don't try to do crazy stuff just for the sake of doing it or to show off your voice. You want to ease into it, and I showed you a few exercises tonight that you can give a try. Just try them, and you'll notice we didn't do tons of scales or anything. All we did was just warm up just a little bit in our head voice, just so we could get some coordination happening, but we really didn't go into it with a real thorough warm up. So anytime you're going to be singing and doing some powerful singing in your head voice or any longevity or length of time, you want to make sure that you do a good 10 to 15 minute warm up. Get the full voice warmed up. Make sure those head voice notes are warmed up before you start diving in and trying to do anything crazy. Okay? Alrighty. Sarah says, love you, Bird. She calls me Bird, as you guys are telling. I'm sure you can see by now. So anyway, I love you too, Sarah. Thank you so much, honey, for joining in. And let me know if you all have any questions on head voice. Please ask me afterwards. I do check back. I check back with the videos. So I hope this has been helpful. Just a little bit of a fun tip. We'll be doing some more stuff a little later where we'll be doing some applying songs and actual, once in a while we'll sing, we'll pop on. And maybe if anybody is ever brave and they want to come on with me live on one of my lives in the week, please let me know. And I would love to have you join me live, and we can have some fun together in our time on our live tips. Okay, so if you're ever interested, just let me know. Okay, let me see. Oh, Zach D. Herrera, let me see. Oh my goodness, hi Zach. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in, let's see. Oh my gosh, this is all home week here. Okay, so it says, I didn't know you're doing live coaching. Thank you. I'll try to catch the next one. Oh, I'm so glad. Zach, if you're singing, I'm going to assume maybe you are, but let me know. And we're just talking a little bit about head voice and the importance of, and how to get to some higher notes. We weren't doing any singing tonight or anything, but just making some little audible sounds so that you can start getting the coordinations in your head voice without hurting your voice. Okay, let me see. Michael says, let me see. Michael says, Sarah, I thought that was your mom. She's talking French. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, when you get into, if you ask me about singing, guys, or songwriting or voice, that is just like, I just geek totally out, and I'm in my element. I love singing. I love voice. I love teaching. And that's the whole point of coming on live, you guys, because I want to help you. I want to pique your interest. And Michael, you're a trooper for hanging out, because it sounds like you don't sing because I'm speaking French to you right now. However, I just want to plant some little ideas in there in your head and try out some of the stuff we did tonight, and just for fun. And obviously you're going to do it in your head voice. Don't try to match my head voice. Okay. My voice right now actually isn't all that warm for head voice notes or anything. But when it is, we'll get on and we'll do some more another time. But just have fun with it. Just make some noise, get in there and dive in, take care of yourself. Remember the first rule, the best way that you can protect your voice outside of warming up your voice is light and right is better than strong and wrong. Don't start with a cold voice and sing loud. That is crazy. That is crazy and you'll hurt yourself. Don't do it. It's a bad habit. Don't do it. Start out, give your voice a chance to warm up, and then go for the gusto and have fun. Okay? So I'm going to see if I have any other questions or comments. Let's see. Let me see. So can you guys think of anything that you like? I want you guys to be thinking of somebody that you really enjoy listening to. Like, and when I talk about head voice, is there anybody that you can think of that does some crazy head voice notes that you really like listening to? Mariah Carey's awesome. She sings in head and also in whistle, and those are some of those really high notes when well, I'm not getting into whistle very good right now, but she gets up into some really crazy high whistle. And when you start doing some phonating where let me see if I could just do this. That's what we call whistle. And Mariah Carey gets up there into some of those really crazy, let me see, that's a female double high C. So it's next to the last one on the board. So that's head voice, but it's also, it's called whistle because it sounds like a whistle. The voice is so high and so thinned out and light that it sounds like a whistle. Okay. Let me see. I woke up Phoebe. Okay. Anyway, if you guys have anybody that you like listening to, or if you can think of anybody, some classical singers that you like listening to, pop singers, anybody whose high notes that you really like. I know a lot of people, they like, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing singers out there now that sing in their head voice, and they're singing powerfully in their head voice. So there's many ways to get in there and sing head voice, but write down maybe somebody that you can think of that you really love listening to. There's a lot of different genres of head voice singers. The Celtic Angels, I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but for the softer singers and their legit high voice, the legit sopranos, it sounds like angels singing. I love that. There's a lot of tenor groups that the guys are singing tenor. And I don't know if you guys know who Pentatonix is, but they're an a cappella group, and their altos are so insane. I mean, their tenors, just everything, their vocal arrangements are absolutely insane, and they're stunning. So I want to challenge you guys. You guys have homework. Whoever's watching this, write down in sometime between now and next week a name of a group or an artist that you really like listening to, or somebody that you have heard of, or you're just curious about that they sing up in their high head voice. Okay, and just jot their name down. I'd really love to see who you guys like listening to that sings really high. All right, let me see if I've got anything else going on here. I'm going to refresh my page. This has been a lot of fun. It's nice to see Michael and Zach. That was really awesome to see you guys here tonight. And Sarah, as always, you were always on there. And Jason, you were on tonight. I'm just so excited to see everybody here tonight. And like I said, I can go on these rabbit trails when it comes to voice. I have 125% geek out. so just let me know if you have a question and I didn't get to it. Let me know. Oh, I see Renata Ray Olguin. Hello. I didn't see you on here. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, Renata, that's so awesome. Thank you for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. And like I said, I do check back also on my Instagram page, here at Facebook, and also here at YouTube, because I'm live every week, live on YouTube and live on Facebook. So you can, but I also have an Instagram channel, and I can't go live on this software to my Instagram simultaneously. But if you have questions, I check all three platforms, and please reach out and ask me some questions. Okay, I'm here for you. I really want to see all of you singers succeeding and reaching those goals. I mean, this is so exciting. Brendan, awesome. Wow, awesome. This is so great. Brendan, thanks so much. It's really good to see you here too, Brendan. Wonderful to see you. Hey guys, also just one thing, if this has been helpful, if this has piqued your curiosity, just a little plug at the end of my live here, go to my YouTube channel. It's True Voice Studio. You'll see my picture there, also on Instagram and Facebook, and just give me a little thumbs up if you like them, if you find it helpful. And I am going
going to be having a workshop, a masterclass workshop, and it is going to be, I'm super excited about it. We're going to be getting some voices unlocked, guys. We are going to be getting your voice free. Imagine no more tension in your voice. Imagine being able to unlock your voice and get rid of tension and be confident when you're singing. If you're interested at all, just write me a little note. Yes, just write a big YES, and I'm going to keep you, I'll keep you in mind, and I will be putting in a little follow-up in the next couple weeks. We're going to be having a sign up for it. That's coming really soon. So super glad to see you all here. Okay, Zach, Brenda, everybody, so good to see you guys. You guys are just too amazing. It is so wonderful to see everybody here. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the follows. Thanks most of all for just spending some time here and trusting me with your voice. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of the week, and I'll see you all next week. Okay, keep those questions in mind. Think of who it is, write down in the comments below this video, wherever, on whatever platform you're watching, and just jot down who you like that sings soprano, or that sings tenor, or that sings and hits some really high notes that you would love to be able to hit. And we are going to continue next week. All right, guys, thank you so much. Stay safe, be well, and keep on singing. Love you guys.